dispel the onset of racism that was about to be set in motion in the city of Memphis. On January 30th, 1968, Walter Russell and his co-worker Matthew O'Connor, both under the age of 40, were accidentally killed. Walter Russell, a deacon at Baptist Memorial Temple and director of the local chapter of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFS-CME, was well respected in the Memphis community. Matthew O'Connor, a soft-spoken young man who'd just recently been hired, had joked to his co-workers who were bitching and complaining about the working conditions. "This is a step up for me. Last year I was walking behind 2 mules. This year I'm riding on the back of a truck. Who knows? Next year I might be driving." His sense of humor would be sorely missed. On that horrific morning, a woman who was looking out of her kitchen window saw the incident happen. He was just standing there on the end of the truck, and suddenly it looked like the big thing, the compressor unit, had just swallowed him. He was standing on the side, and the machine was moving. His body went in first, and his legs were hanging out. "The motor started racing, and the driver stopped and ran around and mashed that button to stop that thing," said one of the crew that was riding in the cab of the truck. "I didn't know what was happening. It looked to me like one of them almost got out, but he got caught and just fell back in there. I didn't know at the time someone else had already been crushed in the thing," the woman told the Memphis Press-Scimitar. "It was horrible." No one said whether it was Walter Russell or Matthew O'Connor who almost made it out before the edge of his raincoat got snagged in the grinder when the electrical apparatus on the compressor shorted out. The truck, a barrel-type unit called the Wiener barrel by the men, had come to use 10 years before and was being phased out, but 6 were still in use. The sanitation workers had complained about the faulty equipment, but it fell on deaf ears. There was no workman's compensation. Neither man had life insurance. The city paid the families back pay, an additional month's salary, and $500 towards burial expenses. The men in the Department of Sanitation didn't talk about it much, but the tragedy tugged at the periphery of their thoughts like a nightmare on the edge of waking. They had seen the deadly hydraulic ram in action. Several days after the 2 men were killed, the rumors of a strike in sanitation began. In the aftermath of death, the workers began a seemingly hopeless struggle against the city of Memphis, Tennessee, demanding dignity, respect, and a subsistence wage. Since 1964, their charter local 1733 was not recognized by the city and had little power. Safety issues and lack of pay because of the rain were factors that had also caused a wildcat strike by the public works employees seeking recognition of their union. Some folks in Memphis saw it as a prototype fusion of organized labor and minority groups for economic independence. At the age of 13, Walter Russell's baby daughter, Anne, vowed to be an integral part of the civil rights movement. None of the gory details that perpetuated the Memphis Press-Scimitar or the Hamilton Appeal mattered to the Southern Belle or to the other members of the Russell family who had to prepare, once again, for a funeral. Walter Russell's body was so badly disfigured that they had to have a closed casket funeral. Yesterday, tomorrow, and unrequited todays and tonights rained on Anne's psyche. It was a combination of everything that had happened over the past few weeks when Anne went to sleep, free-floating fitfully on a turbulent river of dreams. Metropolis of the American Nile. Chapter 1. "Where's my daddy?" Anne screamed. "What have they done with him?
I want to see him. Why can't I see him? No, no, please. Not like that.
Clutching the edge of the brown wool blanket against her heart, her body shivered more from emotion than from the cold February night. As she struggled to shun the horrible images of death, she felt a stiff hand roughly shaking her. The stale odor of hot cigarette breath against her face made her wince, as someone repeated her name over and over again. Still half asleep, she made an effort to open her eyes. "Anna Mae, will you please shut up?" her sister Vanilla Mae demanded. "You're going to wake up those damn brats." The 6 surviving Russells lived in a modest low-income wood-frame house. It was all that their father had been able to afford. Since the death of their older brother and his wife last summer, their 2 nieces and nephews slept in their younger brother's old bedroom next to them. The walls were so old and dilapidated, they could hear the bed springs creak when any of the children made the slightest movement. Anne believed that she heard a slight tremor just now. It sounded like someone was clapping his or her hands together. "I'm sorry, May." Her throat was hoarse and scratchy. "See," May said, after they heard a much more distinct sound in the next room. "She's up." They both knew who it was. By then, Anne's eyes had adjusted to the darkness. She looked across the room to the clock radio on the dresser. It was nearly 3 in the morning. "I'll check on her," she said, exiting the bed they shared. Turning on the hall light, she opened the children's bedroom door. First, she spotted Wesley, snoring softly in the bed near the closet. A drooping sage-green army blanket, used as a room divider, was nailed to the ceiling. To her left, the 2 girls, Bentley Camille and Nikki Ann, slept in a twin bed barely 3 feet away. As she moved closer, she noticed that 6-year-old Nikki was sitting up, looking dead in Anne's face. "Why are you always making that noise?" Nikki asked, with eyes as innocent as flower petals. "Shh," Anne cautioned. "Aunt Anne has bad dreams sometimes." "I never dreams. How come? How come I don't get to dreams?" Nikki was a special child. Taking care of her had been a huge challenge, especially for May, who quit school the year before to become her surrogate mother. Sitting on the bed beside her, Anne said, "I don't know, baby. Some people never dreams." But Anne's dreams were not always bad ones. Sometimes she dreamed beautiful dreams about her mother. Anne would tell all of her secrets to the woman she felt was her best friend. She would have liked to share these special moments with Nikki, but she wouldn't understand. Even in the semi-darkness, she could see Nikki's strong features. Like Anne, she had the wide-set Russell eyes and milk chocolate coloring. In her large, shadowed brown eyes lingered more pain and sufferings than a child her age should know. "Are you sad your daddy died?" "Yeah." Anne reached out and rebraided one of her 3 thick pigtails that had come loose. "And I'm sad about your daddy and Mommy, too." "Uh-huh. Me, too. Heaven must be getting pretty crowded up there." Anne smiled. "I was thinking the same thing, Nikki. And you know something? A famous poet named Cummings said it better than I ever could. He said that life wasn't a paragraph, and death, he thought, is no parenthesis. I don't know what that means." Sometimes Anne forgot about Nikki's handicap. She had a bad habit of talking to herself, as though Nikki were her personal sounding board. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm merely trying to say that life goes on, even in death, and one day you and I will get to see our loved ones. And then, well then, neither one of us will ever have to worry about dreams anymore."